The turkey was perfect. Golden brown, herb-crusted, exactly the way my mother had been making it for 30 years. 18 members of the Chen family sat around the extended dining table in my parents' house, passing bowls of stuffing and cranberry sauce, wine flowing freely. The sound of laughter and conversation filling every corner of the room. I was mid-sentence, telling my aunt about the efficiency program I'd just implemented at Worker System that would save the hospital $340,000 annually, when my brother Ryan interrupted. "So we're thinking about renovating the kitchen," he announced, his voice carrying over mine like I hadn't been speaking at all. Granite countertops, new appliances, the whole thing. My aunt immediately turned away from me. "Oh, how exciting. You two have such good taste." I sat there, fork suspended over my plate, the words about my program dissolving into nothing. No one asked me to continue. No one even glanced back. Ryan's wife Ashley pulled out her phone. "Look at these inspiration photos. We're thinking a modern farmhouse aesthetic." The phones came out around the table. Everyone leaned in to look at Ashley's Pinterest board. My efficiency program, months of work, hundreds of thousands, saved forgotten in seconds. This was normal. When I was 14, I'd been named Student of the Year at my high school. Top grades, volunteer work, 3 sports teams. They gave me a plaque at an assembly in front of 400 students. I came home glowing, ready to celebrate. Ryan was in the living room playing video games. He'd just gotten cut from the basketball team, his 3rd time trying out, his 3rd rejection. My parents were consoling him, talking about how the coach was biased, how he'd work harder next year, how he was still their champion. I stood in the doorway with my plaque for 15 minutes. Finally, my dad looked up. "That's great, Amy. Put it somewhere safe." Then they went back to comforting Ryan. The plaque went in my closet. At dinner that night, we spent an hour strategizing Ryan's basketball future. My award never came up. Amy still doing the hospital administrator thing. My uncle asked, pulling me back to the present. "Healthcare operations manager," I corrected. "Actually, I just finished a project that—" "That's nice," he said, already turning back to Ryan. "So how much is this renovation running you?" Ryan grinned. "We're looking at about 40 grand. But Ashley's been saving her design ideas for years. It's going to be incredible." I knew exactly how they were planning to pay for a $40,000 renovation. The same way they'd been paying for everything since 2020. They weren't. My phone sat face down beside my plate. Inside it, 3 automatic payments scheduled for the end of the month. Asterisk Ryan Chen, medical payment plan, $890. Asterisk Ryan Chen, hospital bill number 2, $425. Asterisk Ryan Chun, specialist copays, $315. Total $1,630 per month. For 4 years and 2 months. 50 months total. $81,500 paid. But the actual damage was worse. I'd also covered asterisk emergency room visit, March 2020, $4,200 asterisk surgery, copay, July 2020, $6,500 asterisk physical therapy, August-December 2020, $3,600 asterisk medical equipment, $1,850 asterisk prescription costs, $2,350. Grand total, $47,182. It started with a phone call in March 2020. Ryan had been in a car accident, not his fault. Drunk driver T-boned him at an intersection. Broken leg, dislocated shoulder, internal bruising. The insurance covered most of it, but the copays and deductibles were catastrophic. He was 26, working retail, had no savings. "Amy, I don't know what to do," he'd said on the phone, his voice cracking. "I can't afford this. I literally can't pay it." "Let me help," I'd said. Just this once. Just this once became every month for 50 months. He never asked how I was managing, never checked if it was too much, never said thank you after the first few payments. The bills just ... disappeared. He went to his appointments, got his treatments, recovered fully. The medical billing companies got their money through automatic payments from my account. Ryan and Ashley went on with their lives. And now they were planning a $40,000 kitchen renovation. "You know what your problem is, Amy," Ryan said suddenly, his voice cutting through the dinner conversation. The table quieted. Everyone turned to look. "What?" I said carefully. "You're cheap." He said it with a laugh, like it was a joke, but his eyes were serious. "You make good money. You've got no kids, no major expenses, but you're always watching every penny. Maybe if you weren't so cheap, you'd understand what family means." Laughter rippled around the table. My cousin nodded knowingly. My uncle chuckled into his wineglass. My mother smiled indulgently, like Ryan had made a clever observation. "Ryan, that's not fair," my father started, but Ryan was warming up. "No, seriously, look at her. When's the last time Amy offered to help with anything? She came to Thanksgiving with a bottle of wine and a store-bought pie. Meanwhile, Ashley and I are struggling to make ends meet, trying to build a life, and Amy's over there hoarding her money like a dragon." More laughter. My cousin Jessica whispered something to her husband. They both glanced at me and smirked. Ashley put her hand on Ryan's arm, a gentle, "that's enough" gesture, but she was smiling too. No one defended me. No one questioned whether it was true. My parents looked vaguely uncomfortable but said nothing. My aunt changed the subject to dessert options. They just accepted it. Amy, the cheap one. Amy, the selfish one. Amy, who never helps. I stood up carefully, placing my napkin beside my plate. "Excuse me, I need to use the restroom." I walked down the hallway to the bathroom, closed the door, and pulled out my phone. My hands were steady as I opened my banking app and navigated to scheduled payments. Ryan Chen, medical payment plan, $890. Next payment, November 30th. I pressed delete. The payment disappeared. Ryan Chen, hospital bill number 2, $425. Next payment, November 30th. Delete. Ryan Chen specialist, copays $315. Next payment, November 30th. Delete. 4 years and 2 months of automatic payments. 50 months of watching money leave my account without acknowledgement. $47,182 given to someone who just called me cheap in front of 18 family members. Gone. All of it, cancelled in 30 seconds. I washed my hands, checked my reflection in the mirror, and walked back to the dinner table. "Everything okay?" my mother asked. "Perfect," I said, sitting down. Just needed a moment. I picked up my fork and took a bite of turkey. It was excellent, like always. Ryan's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, frowned, and put it face down on the table. It buzzed again, and again. "You need to get that," Ashley asked. "It's just ... Probably spam," Ryan said, but his hand hovered over the phone. By the time dessert came, out 3 pies, homemade and store-bought. Ryan's phone had buzzed 14 times. He finally picked it up and walked into the kitchen. I ate my pumpkin pie and listened to the muffled sound of his voice growing agitated in the other room. "That's ridiculous. No, I have automatic payments set up. Check your system. This is your mistake, not mine." I took another bite of pie. Ryan came back to the table, his face pale. We have to go. What? We haven't even finished dessert, Ashley said. We have to go now. His voice was tight. They left in a rush, Ryan's phone still buzzing as they walked out the door. My mother watched them leave with concern. I hope everything's all right. I'm sure it is, I said. I helped clean up, said my goodbyes, and drove home in peaceful silence. 3 years earlier, I'd made a decision. I was done trying to earn my family's approval. It happened after Ryan's surgery in July 2020. ID paid the $6,500 co-pay directly to the hospital, draining most of my emergency fund. 2 weeks later, I called Ryan to see how he was recovering. Yeah, I'm good, he'd said, distracted. Hey, I gotta go. We're looking at cars. Ashley thinks we should upgrade. You're buying a car. Looking probably won't do anything until next month. I hung up and stared at my bank balance. $1,247 in savings. I'd just given him $6,500, and he was shopping for cars. That's when I called my college friend, Monica. She was a therapist in Seattle, and she'd been gently suggesting for years that my relationship with my family might be unhealthy. Tell me honestly, I said. Am I crazy? Tell me what happened, she said. I told her everything. The accident, the medical bills, the automatic payments, the complete lack of acknowledgement, the car shopping. No. Monica was quiet for a long moment. Amy, what you're describing is financial exploitation. He's my brother. That doesn't give him the right to take your money without appreciation or reciprocity. Have you told your parents about this? No. Why not? I thought about it because they'd expect me to do it anyway. I'm the responsible one. The one with the good job. It's just, what I'm supposed to do. Says who? I didn't have an answer. Monica's voice was gentle. You're allowed to have boundaries. Even with family. Especially with family. I started building my life around that principle. I took the promotion to Senior Operations Manager. My salary jumped from $78,000 to $95,000. 6 months later, another promotion to director level, $112,000. I moved into a better apartment, nothing extravagant, but mine. 2 bedrooms, a real kitchen, a parking spot. I made real friends at work. Diana, the chief nursing officer, who'd been at the hospital for 20 years and treated me like a mentee. Kevin, who ran facilities management and met me for lunch twice a week. Sarah, the new hire in operations who actually listened when I talked about projects. I started dating someone. Marcus was a physician in the ER, 41 years old, divorced, steady, and calm in the way only ER doctors could be. When I told him about Ryan's medical bills, he just shook his head. You paid all of that out of pocket. He couldn't afford it. Did he ask you to? He said he didn't know what to do. That's not the same as asking. And it's definitely not the same as informed consent to a 4-year financial commitment. Marcus took my hand. You're generous, but there's a difference between generosity and being used. I liked that he didn't sugarcoat it. My contact with my family decreased naturally. Sunday dinners became every other week, then monthly. Phone calls became texts. I stopped sharing my achievements, they never landed anyway. Ryan and I barely spoke except for holidays and the occasional "How are you" text that went nowhere. The automatic payments kept processing. $1,630 every month, like clockwork. I kept the spreadsheet, tracking every payment, every date. I told myself it was for tax purposes, but really, I needed proof. Proof that I'd tried. Proof that I wasn't the selfish one. By November 2024, My savings account had $52,000. My 401k was maxed out. I'd started investing in index funds. I took a vacation to Japan with Marcus and didn't tell my family until we were already there. "You're in Tokyo," my mother said when I mentioned it casually. "You didn't tell us you were traveling." "It was last minute," I lied. "Work opportunity." "Oh. Well. I guess you're very busy these days." The implied criticism was subtle. I'd gotten too important for family, too successful to stay connected. I recognized the guilt trip immediately. But for the first time, it didn't work. "I am busy," I said. "And happy." My mother made a non-committal sound and changed the subject to Ryan's new apartment, bigger, nicer, better neighborhood. I didn't ask how they were affording it. I already knew they weren't. Not really. My $1,630 a month had freed up enough of their income to make lease payments on a luxury apartment they couldn't actually afford. I didn't offer to help with anything else. I was done offering. Thanksgiving at my parents' house was a tradition I'd been unable to escape. 18 people, parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, Ryan and Ashley. The same house I'd grown up in, the same dining room table extended with 2 folding tables, the same chaos of too many people in too small a space. I arrived at 2, with a bottle of expensive wine and a store-bought pie. I'd learned years ago that spending hours cooking something elaborate was pointless. No one noticed. The house was already full. Ryan and Ashley were holding court in the living room, showing everyone photos on their phones. Their kitchen renovation, apparently. They'd hired a designer. Amy, my mother, hugged me, took the wine and pie without comment, and immediately pulled me toward the living room. "Look at what Ryan and Ashley are planning. Isn't it gorgeous?" The phones came out. I looked at photos of granite countertops and farmhouse sinks and custom cabinetry. It looked expensive. "How much is this costing?" my uncle asked. "About $40,000, Ryan said proudly. "But we've been saving up." I knew their savings account balance. $3,200. I knew because Ryan had asked me to be his emergency contact at the hospital, which meant I'd gotten access to his financial information through the medical billing portal. They hadn't been saving. They'd been spending every dollar they made, and then some. The $40,000 was going on credit cards they couldn't afford. But I didn't say anything. What would be the point? Dinner was the usual chaos. I ended up between my grandmother and a cousin's husband I'd never met, making small talk about traffic and weather while Ryan's voice carried from the other end of the table. I was telling my aunt about the efficiency program, the one that would save the hospital $340,000. When Ryan cut me off to talk about granite countertops, just like always. Then my uncle asked about my hospital administrator thing, and I tried once more to explain my actual job. He cut me off to ask Ryan about renovation costs. I felt my phone buzz against my leg, a notification from my bank. Scheduled payments for November 30th, total $1,630, 6 days from now. That money would leave my account. Like it had every month for 50 months. Like it would keep doing forever, apparently, because Ryan was planning a $40,000 renovation while I paid his medical bills. I stared at my plate and did the math again. $47,182 over 4 years. Not counting the original emergency bills. Not counting the equipment and prescriptions. Closer to $50,000 total. And he was renovating his kitchen while calling me cheap. "You know what your problem is, Amy." I looked up. Ryan was staring at me, and somehow the entire table had gone quiet. "What?" I said. "You're cheap." He laughed, but there was an edge to it. "You make good money, you've got no kids, No major expenses, but you're always watching every penny. Maybe, if you weren't so cheap, you'd understand what family means. Laughter around the table. My cousin nodded. My uncle chuckled. My mother smiled like Ryan had made a clever joke. Ryan, my father started, but Ryan kept going. Seriously. Look at her. When's the last time Amy offered to help with anything? She shows up with cheap wine and a store-bought pie. Meanwhile, Ashley and I are struggling to build a life, and Amy's hoarding money like it's going out of style. More laughter. My aunt whispered something to my grandmother. They both looked at me with something like pity. Ashley touched Ryan's arm. That's enough. But she was smiling. No one defended me. Not one person. My father looked uncomfortable, but stayed silent. My mother busied herself with refilling water glasses. My aunt started talking about dessert. They just accepted it. Amy, the cheap one. Amy who never helps. Amy who doesn't understand family. $47,182. I stood up, carefully placing my napkin beside my plate. Excuse me, I need to use the restroom. I walked calmly down the hallway, locked the bathroom door, and pulled out my phone. My hands didn't shake as I opened my banking app. Ryan Chen, medical payment plan, $890. Delete. Ryan Chen, hospital bill number 2. $425. Delete. Ryan Chen specialist copays, $315. Delete. For years and 2 months. 50 months. $47,182. Gone in 30 seconds. I washed my hands, looked at myself in the mirror, and walked back to dinner. Everything okay? My mother asked. Perfect, I said. Ryan's phone buzzed almost immediately. He frowned at the screen and put it face down. It buzzed again, and again, and again. By the time my mother brought out the pies, Ryan's phone had become a constant vibration against the wooden table. He finally grabbed it and walked into the kitchen. I could hear his voice, angry and confused. What do you mean payment declined? I have automatic payments. This is your mistake. I took a bite of pumpkin pie. It was good, store-bought, but good. Ryan came back, looking pale. We have to leave, now, Ashley said. We haven't finished dessert, now. They grabbed their coats and left, Ryan's phone buzzing continuously in his hand. I hope everything's all right, my mother said, watching them go. I'm sure it's fine, I said. I helped clean up, hugged everyone goodbye, and drove home. My phone stayed silent for 3 hours. Then the calls started. Ryan called me 62 times between Thursday night and Saturday morning. I answered none of them. The voicemails escalated. Amy, call me. Something's wrong with my medical payments. Amy, this is urgent. The hospital is saying my payments were cancelled. Amy, I don't understand what's happening. 3 different billing companies called me. Why would my payments stop? Amy, call me back. This is unfunny. I listened to each one once, then deleted them. The texts were worse. Amy, what did you do? Why aren't my medical bills being paid? The hospital is threatening to send me to collections. This is insane. Call me now. How could you do this to me? I responded once. Saturday morning, I took your advice. I'm going to stop being cheap. He called immediately. I declined the call. His response, what the hell does that mean? I didn't answer. Saturday afternoon, my mother called. Amy, Ryan says there's a problem with his medical bills. There's no problem. I canceled the payments. Silence. Long silence. What payments? The $890 monthly payment plan. the $425 hospital bill, the $315 specialist copays. All the payments I've been making for 4 years. You've been paying Ryan's medical bills every month since March 2020. $47,182 total, plus the original emergency costs. Call it $50,000. I heard my mother sit down. Amy, I had no idea. I know Ryan never mentioned it. Why would he? It was easier to call me cheap than to admit I'd been covering his medical expenses for 4 years. He called you cheap at Thanksgiving, my mother said slowly. In front of everyone, he did. And you canceled his payments. I did, Amy. He's going to be sent to collections. His credit will be ruined. Then he should pay his bills. He can't afford them. You know that. Then he shouldn't be planning a $40,000 kitchen renovation. Silence again. What renovation? The one he spent all of Thanksgiving dinner talking about. Granite countertops, new appliances, designer consultation, $40,000. But if he can't pay his medical bills, ... double quotes exactly. My mother was quiet for a long time. Amy, what do you want us to do? Nothing. This is between Ryan and me. He's your brother. And I paid $50,000 of his medical bills. The accounting is done, Mom. I hung up. Sunday morning, Ryan showed up at my apartment. I watched through the peephole as he pounded on the door. Ashley stood behind him, looking miserable. Amy, I know you're in there. Open the door. I opened it. What do you want? What do I want? I want to know why you sabotaged my life. I didn't sabotage anything. I stopped paying your bills. You canceled my payments without warning. Do you have any idea what you've done? I've got 3 billing companies threatening collections. My credit score is going to tank. How could you do this? How could I stop giving you money? Pretty easily, actually. Ashley stepped forward. Amy, please. We need those payments. We can't afford them on our own. Then you shouldn't have planned a $40,000 renovation. That's different. It's not different. You have money for granite countertops, but not for the medical bills from an accident 4 years ago. That's a choice. We've been saving for that renovation for years, Ryan said. No, you haven't. I've seen your bank statements. You have $3,200 in savings. The renovation is going on credit cards you can't afford because you thought you'd always have me covering your medical expenses. Ryan's face went red. How do you know my bank balance? You made me your emergency contact. I have access to your financial information through the hospital portal. That's private. And yet, I've been paying your private bills for 4 years. Ashley was crying now. Amy, please. We're begging you. Just keep making the payments for a few more months. Until we can figure something out. No. No. Ryan's voice cracked. Just no. That's it. That's it. After everything. After everything. I stared at him. After $50,000. After 4 years. After you called me cheap, in front of 18 people. Yes, Ryan. After everything. I'm done. This is cruel, Ashley said. This is so cruel. I gave $50,000. The accounting is done. You're going to let my credit be destroyed. Let me be sent to collections. Ruin my financial future. I'm going to stop paying bills that aren't mine. What you do with that information is up to you. Mom was right, Ryan said bitterly. You have changed. Success made you cold. Success made me realize I don't have to set myself on fire to keep you warm. I started to close the door. Ryan shoved his foot in the gap. We're family, Amy. Then act like it. I closed the door. He pounded on it for 5 more minutes before finally leaving. Monday morning, I got a call from an unknown number. Amy Chen, A professional male voice. Yes. This is Dr. Richard Park. I'm a financial counselor at Seattle Medical Center. Your brother Ryan came to see me about his medical debt situation. He mentioned your ... involvement. Would you be willing to talk? I almost said no, but something about his tone, neutral, clinical, made me pause. Go ahead. Your brother described a situation where you'd been paying his medical bills for approximately 4 years, then stopped abruptly. He characterized this as abandonment. But when I reviewed his account, I noticed something. You weren't just helping him. You were subsidizing a lifestyle he couldn't afford. What do you mean? The medical bills from 2020 were significant but manageable with a payment plan. What you did, paying them in full, immediately, continuously allowed him to avoid the natural consequences of his situation. He never had to budget for these expenses, never had to make difficult choices. He just ... lived as if they didn't exist. So I enabled him. That's one way to put it. Another way is that you were systematically exploited. He benefited from $50,000 of your money while publicly calling you cheap and planning luxury renovations. That's not family helping family. That's financial abuse. The words hit harder than I expected. Financial abuse. When someone takes your money, shows no gratitude, and then criticizes you for not giving more. That's abuse. The family relationship makes it harder to see, but it doesn't change what it is. That night, I told Marcus about the conversation. Financial abuse, he repeated. That tracks. Everyone thinks I'm cruel for stopping. Everyone was fine with you being an ATM for 4 years. Now, you're cruel. He shook his head. Your boundaries are valid. You don't owe anyone unlimited access to your bank account. Even family. My parents think I should help. Your parents should have been paying attention. Where were they when you were hemorrhaging $1,630 a month? They didn't know. They didn't ask. That was the part that hurt most. Not that I'd been paying. Not even that Ryan had been ungrateful. But that no one had noticed. No one had checked if I was okay. No one had wondered how I was managing. They only noticed when the money stopped. Wednesday, Ryan posted on Facebook. The post was long, emotional, carefully worded. He talked about medical debt, about family betrayal, about being abandoned in his time of need. 47 comments, mostly sympathetic. Praying for you. Family should stick together. I'm so sorry, I didn't respond. But Diana did. Diana, my mentor at the hospital, commented, "This is interesting." Amy mentioned she'd been supporting a family member's medical expenses for years. Is this the same situation? What's the full story? The comments slowed. Then Kevin commented, "I've worked with Amy for 3 years. She's one of the most generous people I know. Something doesn't add up here." Then Sarah, "Amy doesn't talk about her family much, but when she does, it's clear she's been carrying a heavy load. Maybe there's more to this." I hadn't asked them to defend me. They just did. The narrative started shifting. People asked questions. How long was she helping? What's the other side? Were you planning a renovation while she paid your bills? Ryan deleted the post 4 hours later. My mother called that night. "Ryan's very upset about what your coworkers said. They told the truth. They made him look bad." He made himself look bad. He posted a one-sided story on social media. They just asked for context. "Amy, this is tearing the family apart." "No, Mom. This is me finally setting a boundary. The family is uncomfortable because the boundary affects them. That's not the same as being torn apart. So what do we do now?" You support Ryan in figuring out his own finances. And you accept that I'm done being his safety net. He's your brother, and I gave him $50,000. That's more than most siblings do in a lifetime." I hung up before she could respond. 12 months later, November, again. I stood in my new condo purchased outright. No mortgage with Marcus, Diana, Kevin, and Sarah. Friendsgiving, they'd called it when they invited themselves over. Marcus had made turkey. Diana brought her famous sweet potato casserole. Kevin contributed wine. Sarah made 3 different pies. To Amy, Diana said, raising her glass, who finally put herself first. 2 boundaries, Kevin added. 2 family you choose, Sarah said. We clinked glasses. The past year had been transformative. Without $1,630 leaving my account every month, I'd saved an additional $19,560. Combined with my existing savings and investments, I'd bought this condo outright for $285,000. Owned it completely. No debt, no mortgage, just mine. I'd gotten another promotion to Vice President of Operations. My relationship with my family had, adjusted. Ryan and Ashley had figured it out, eventually. They'd cancelled the renovation. Ashley had gotten a better job. Ryan had picked up a second income stream, doing freelance graphic design. They'd consolidated their medical debt onto a payment plan they could actually afford. It wasn't comfortable, but they were managing. We didn't talk much. A text every few weeks. Surface-level stuff. He'd never apologized for calling me cheap. I'd never apologized for stopping the payments. We'd just moved on into a polite distance. My parents kept trying. Monthly dinners, occasional calls, thinking of you, texts. I responded warmly, but maintained clear boundaries. No, I wasn't resuming financial support for Ryan. No, I wasn't going to feel guilty about it. Yes, I was happy. The guilt trips had stopped around month 6, when they finally realized they didn't work anymore. "You seem lighter," Marcus said, coming up behind me with a glass of wine. "Happier." "I am. No regrets. Not even one." The truth was, I didn't miss the version of myself who'd set herself on fire to keep others warm. That Amy, the one who paid $50,000 to be called cheap, who gave and gave and gave without acknowledgement, she was gone. I'd mourned her briefly, then moved on. This Amy had boundaries, had savings, had a chosen family who showed up, celebrated her wins, and never once asked her to be smaller so they could be bigger. Speech. Sarah called from the kitchen. "Oh, I don't." "Come on," Diana said. "Say something." I looked around my living room at these 4 people who defended me when I wasn't there, celebrated me when I succeeded, and supported me when I needed it. "I'm not good at speeches," I said, "but I want to say thank you." A year ago, I was stuck in a pattern I didn't know how to break. I thought family meant infinite sacrifice. That love meant giving, until there was nothing left. You all showed me something different. You showed me that real relationships celebrate each other. That boundaries aren't selfish, they're necessary. That I'm allowed to save my own life first. Marcus squeezed my hand. Diana wiped her eyes. Kevin raised his glass. "To Amy," he said, "who learned to say no." To saying no, everyone echoed. We ate turkey and sweet potatoes and 3 kinds of pie. We laughed until my sides hurt. We told stories and made plans for Christmas and talked about the future like it was something bright and full of possibility. My phone buzzed once. A text from my mother. "Happy Thanksgiving, Amy. We miss you. Love, Mom and Dad." I responded, "Happy Thanksgiving. Love you too." That was enough. Polite, warm, boundaried. I put my phone away, and went back to my people. Later that night, after everyone had left and Marcus and I were cleaning up, he asked, "You think you'll ever have a real relationship with Ryan again?" "Maybe," I said. "But it'll have to be on different terms. Equal terms. Think he'll ever apologize?" "Probably not. But I don't need him to. I know what happened. I know what I gave. I know I did more than enough. You did more than most people would have. And now I'm done." I looked around my condo, my space, bought with money I'd saved by finally saying no. "The accounting is done." Marcus kissed my forehead. "Good." I checked my bank account before bed, something I did every night now. Not out of anxiety, but out of satisfaction. Savings. $71,500 investment account. $43,200, 401k. Maxed out debt, $0 4 years ago. ID had $8,900 in savings and $1,630 leaving my account every month to pay someone else's bills. Now I had a condo, a career I loved, savings growing every month, and a life surrounded by people who actually cared about me. The math worked out perfectly. I smiled, turned off the light, and went to sleep in my own home, on my own terms, finally, at peace. The accounting, at long last, was done.